The Nigerian police force is primarily the law enforcement agency in Nigeria under the leadership of the Inspector General of Police. Before 1930, there was a regional police force that merged to form the Nigeria Police Force. That force over time has experienced endemic problems with recruiting, training, inefficiency, and indiscipline, leading to widespread corruption, which has resulted in a low level of public confidence. More so, there is public negative perception of the Nigerian police force, and this has led to several efforts geared towards the reform of the police force over the years. But this, in turn, has now led to a significant improvement in police service delivery. So what is the way forward for the Nigerian police force? So joining us now is Oyekachi Adekoya, Provost Marshal, Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria, Lagos. So it's a pleasure having you, Oyekachi Adekoya. The way forward for the Nigerian police force, I mean, we've had protests in this country to be able to, reform police, do more for them. But what are the problems and how can we solve them?
The problems are well documented, really. Perhaps we look at the current problems that the Nigerian police force has at the moment. I think a complete failure of leadership and confidence on the part of leadership is the main problem that the police would face at this moment. And after that, you can look at the issue of funding. This issue of funding has been overflowed. So funding, lack of resourcing, proper tooling, poor training, poor commitment to training, almost a lack or absence of refresher training for the police. Again, the structure of the Nigerian police force is another very big challenge. Nigeria has currently almost 220 million people. Having a federated police force, as I like to call it, with the chief of police sitting in Abuja, comes with its own challenges. Key of which is the current signal by the IGP to all squadron commanders to withdraw their mobile policemen servicing private interests. And what we have seen, even evidenced by the second signal that had to go out again from the Inspector General of Police, mandating all squadron commanders and state commands to withdraw their policemen from private interests. So basically, Nigeria as it is today is too big, too diverse. The complexities are too entrenched to be micromanaged from the center in Abuja. So we can layer this as part or key to some of the issues we have. Importantly, also, if I just round up with this, is the fact that because policing is too far from the people, you can't really hold the state governors absolutely responsible for security. You can't really hold a commissioner of police who you don't know where he will be in the next 1-2 years, absolutely responsible for security. So it's almost soldier go, soldier come. The command will remain, and with a different face. And there's no direct sense of accountability to the people in the respective state commands because of the federal structure. So I think some of those issues, which have plagued us for some time, are beginning to rear themselves in a very ugly way. Because if you look at the current challenge with the NSAS protests, the federal police has what you call a Federal Reserve Force of Mopo squadrons, what you will call the quell and go, not the kill and go, the quell and go formations that are deployed across this country. And in a case of unrest, as we saw just recently, the reserve formations will come to the streets and put themselves in between the police and the people and, become that anti-riot buffer and hopefully quell some of the unrest in the community or in anywhere that is happening. But as we saw evidently these few weeks, those reserve forces are completely deployed, protecting different assets. And we didn't really see the benefits of the much salaries that the government is paying to some of these formations, the cost that government is also bearing to reserve and maintain those squadrons and their barracks. Ideally, police should not be in the barracks, but the reason why you also need those barracks is also to maintain an effective reserve force and keep them somewhere, and when there's a need, they come out. So the problems are too many, really. I almost don't know where to start from.
Well, Oyekachi, you've raised questions about the structure of the Nigeria police. Are you invariably saying that you support the idea of state police? And if not, how do we get the governors in the various states to have better control or to be in control of the police in their various states, because that was an issue that came out of a recent meeting of the National Economic Council, and a committee was set up to look into that.
Absolutely, Dr. Abati. I think we've gone beyond the issue of whether or not anyone supports state police. The fact that we are still trying to have that conversation at this 21st century, it's a bit alarming. We've gone absolutely beyond the truths of a unitary police system. The system we have currently is not sustainable. And, you know, in security, you test your security program at its weakest link. Again, I'm not sure what most of us read, but we could have very quickly gone into a major crisis in this country, very quickly. And some of us who read some of the trends would not also blame some of the underhand tactics we saw from some interests within or for the government. Because all the known measures of quelling a crisis like this failed completely. So you can blame the government. Some people will blame the government for some underhand tactics, but absolutely, that was only a result to last means, as it were. So absolutely, the governors must insert themselves a bit more forcefully into the conversation. Zamfara, Borno State, where do we begin to talk from? Katsina? There are issues of insecurity everywhere. And I said in one of the interviews I granted, the people in the states, we must now bring back the issue of state police into the ballots and listen to the police, to the politicians, and decide who we will vote for, and listen to the tonality of their speak, and then know who is taking this matter of security very seriously. We've come to a point in Nigeria where I almost think that our senses of the loss of human life is almost gone from us, because it's every day 20, 50, 100, and they seem like numbers, but these are human beings, and the failings of security are staring us in the face. And Doctor, the truth of the matter is the current system we have cannot work for the complexities at hand. So absolutely, we've gone beyond the matter of whether or not the state police is an idea whose time has come. It's time for state police, and we must go the full haul to go state policing. It's about time. There's no issue of conversation about that.
You're completely right in the sense that the general public hears all these casualties, these figures, and becomes inured to them almost. We become used to hearing 10 people have died, 20 people have died. It's really quite dangerous. But I want to talk to you about the low morale within the police force. Since we've been discussing the American elections all morning, I'll give you a quote from Dwight Eisenhower, former US president, that morale is the most significant factor in successful wars. What is the true cost of low morale in the police force, and how can it be tackled?
Well, to try and quantify the cost would be, we can't make an attempt at it, but perhaps we look first at the cost of low morale. Now, if you ask the police themselves, they feel like the number one source of low morale is the way leadership treats the rank and file. If you compare the police to the army, there's a huge level of indiscipline in the police compared to the military. So some of the rank and file members don't feel a sense of loyalty to their superior officers in the police. There's this pervading culture of God bless the big man, as a matter of speak, and then you wait for your turn. So the police has been entrenched in some allegation of corruption and mismanagement. And sometimes also you find in the force that if there's an incident, some senior officers will rather throw their juniors under the bus and leave them to hang to themselves. So some of those issues are some of the causes of morale. Now, let's look at the structural and institutional issue. If we look at the 2021 budget, the federal government is proposing to spend about 441 billion on the police. Now, I looked at the budget for training. the budget for training to upgrade some of their training facilities and maybe procure some equipment, it's about 168 million out of a budget of 441 billion. Now, the CAPEX proposal for even 2021, you are looking at a proposed estimate of about 18 billion. And as most persons who have any business do with the Ministry of Finance would know, it's difficult to get 100% of that 18 billion. And if you go to a further breakdown of some of what goes into it, you then begin to see that there is not enough allocation given to training and retraining. Let's even do like a case in point analysis. The Nigerian police has about 330,000 policemen as at date. If you, for example, say to train and retrain the police in a year, you expend a minimum of 5,000 naira per policeman. Even 5,000 naira is a paltry amount. But if you spend 5,000 naira per policeman, or you propose to spend 5,000 naira per policeman, you are looking at a budget of about 1.6 billion naira to train or retrain 330,000 policemen. I've looked at the budget of the police for the past 10 years. There is not such an amount dedicated to training. Then you then talk about tooling. The police is proposing about 100 and something million to procure munitions in the year 2021. It's in their 2021 budget, as you see. Now, if you cast your mind back a bit to when this new IGP resumed office, he had proposed the use of tasers. He had proposed the use of non-lethal weapons and to also cause the police to become more approachable. Service pistols, less of AK-47s and the rest. And when he made the proposal, some of us were laughing because of a truth, he doesn't have the budget. And that money would not come from anywhere. In the 2021 budget, for example, the police is proposing to procure just 1,000 bulletproof vests for a force that has over 330,000 policemen. So you talk about morale. We send these people to almost certain death with sticks and staves, as I like to call them. No protection, no armor. Some of the barrels of the rifles they have are bent, so they have a lot of issues. I listened to a police officer give an audio interview, an interview.
But if you are still with us, Oyekachi Adekoya, thank you very much. We just lost connection with you.